Hello, this video is for newer players who are struggling or just want to know tips or tricks on how to farm red zones. This is a request I had in my comments. If you have any other videos you'd like to see, just go ahead and leave that in the comments and I'll probably make it for you. So basically what's going on here is there's four farming red zones. There's the limestone, there's the pine wood, and you probably, if you're new, you don't have these options, but there's the oak and the copper. But I'm assuming he's requesting information on these two. So first off, these two areas are very dangerous. And if you go there, right away within your first couple days of playing, you're probably going to die right away. If your only goal is to get limestone, iron, and pine wood, you're way better off going to the green zones. They're pretty easy. You can actually just hit auto, and I mean that's not the most efficient way, but if your sole goal is getting those materials, you don't want to be going to the red zones. The red zones are a better place to go if you're trying to complete raiding tasks. If you're looking for a puppy or C4, good luck because they're very rare there. But if you need oak early on and you're not going to the oak event, you can get a little bit of oak in here. There's two trees, which is pretty minimal, but you can scratch away and get something with that. But the red zones are just, you can get guns and other things in here, but oftentimes you're using more weapons and armor than you're going to get back. I mean, you never know. Sometimes I go to red zones back and forth when I'm trying to complete raid missions, and I just burning through all my gear, and other times I come home with way more than I brought. So it's kind of a crapshoot on that, so the next thing you need to know is that because the red zones are dangerous, you're very likely going to die and lose all your stuff. So there is a trick that you can do where when you die, it says if you would like to revive and you don't hit revive, you log out of the game. And instead of going back to your base naked and with all your stuff gone, you'll just be right back at the zone, just like it hadn't happened. Some people think that's cheating. That's your own personal preference. So if that's the way you want to play the game, then go ahead. So that's about it as far as that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna okay, one more thing here is that the big one does spawn in these two zones. I've actually seen the big one spawn in some of the yellow zones as well, but that's very rare. It seems to me, and this seems to be the consensus, that the big one spawns more frequently in the pinewood. So if you're just trying to complete your raiding missions, it's best to do it over here in the rock zone. And so the way it works is when you're in any of these zones, and it doesn't matter in the red zone or green zone or whatever, there's a variety of zombies and abominations and whatnot that populate the map, and they're just standing there waiting for you. There's also the occasional random zombies that just spawn and immediately head towards you, so you got to watch out for them. This is what I brought, which I bring different things at different times, but you're probably not going to have a military backpack. Bandages are the best thing to have when you're here. And you want some decent weapons. This baseball bat really doesn't cut it. I mean, you can do it, but that's not the best thing to have. And you want to have at least 3/4 of military armor or better whenever you come to a place like this. And you don't have to have that, but you can die pretty quick if you're not careful, if you get rushed. So once you get into a zone, there's a couple of different ways. I mean, you can kind of collect resources while you go, or you can kind of clear the whole map. You always have to be worried that the big one might come, though, because you could spend a whole bunch of time killing all the zombies, only to have the big one come at the very end, and then you have to leave and you don't get any of your resources. So be careful about that. Usually I do clear the whole board of all the zombies, and then I go ahead and raid. So this is kind of new. What's going on here is, I did that crappy, but what's going on is the the AI has changed. Now the AI is more realistic, and that's the AI doing its thing. So he's kind of these are guys that are randomly spawning right now. So the AI will like walk around and kill guys and collect things, and that's all new. It used to be the AI would just come and rush you right away, and in some ways that was better because they're not like running off the map with resources, but it is easier now because they'll get distracted by other things, and by the time you fight them, they're halfway on health and all that. So it is kind of a plus. So the various guys that are out there, they don't move until you get within the aggro ring. So if it's a toxic spitter, I believe he just needs to be right on the farthest outside ring. So you don't ever really see those guys very often. Standing there, they're usually going to be running right at you the moment they start to come onto your map. And then the toxic abominations get aggroed once they reach that middle ring. I don't know if these guys are getting spawned. They probably are. Okay, so the toxic abominations will be aggroing once they get into the second ring, and so that's one way to figure out if it actually is a toxic abomination. All the other things, the fast biters, the wolves, and the regular walking zombies are all going to be aggroed once they hit that inner ring. So like right here, this guy isn't being aggroed, so he's probably a fast biter, but we'll see. Excuse me. So when you're sneaking on somebody, you can get them within that inner ring. It is a fast biter. I'm moving away because I don't want to aggro him while I'm dealing with this guy. You'll notice I'm burning through my guns right away. Watch your health, keep healing. Always take this stuff. You can make bandages with the pieces of cloth while you're going. So anyways, I'm going back to sneak. If you sneak up on a guy from behind or the side like this, he won't aggro. But if I came in from the front, then he sees me. So that's how that sneaking works. Okay. And then there's usually about 5 chests in a red zone. And the 5 chests are typically more in the center. And oftentimes while you're trying to open it, you're going to get rushed by a toxic spitter. And this is kind of some typical loot here. Take what you need. This guy was killed by the AI. I highly recommend you kill any turkeys that you see. And depending on your food needs, you might want to kill the deer. But the turkeys offer 5 times as much food for the dogs. So they're always worth going after. I mean, the deer are like, you know, it's using up your weapons. So the way the toxic spitters work and the abominations is they have a special attack. And the toxic spitters are kind of crappy because when they spit on you enough times, you get dirty. You're constantly getting dirty just playing the game very slowly. So even if you never get spit on, you'll need a shower. But if you have, I think if you get hit about six or 8 times or something by a spitter, then you're going to get smelly, and then you're going to start aggroing people quicker. They did change that, so it's not as bad, but it's just something to try to not do because it's a long way back to get your shower. Okay, see, I knew that was an abomination because he got aggroed from so far away. So whenever you're fighting a toxic abomination or a floater bloater, they'll do that occasionally, and all you got to do is walk out of the ring and then walk back in. Let me switch to a melee weapon so I can show that a little better. So run away if you... So what you can do is sidestep after every attack, and if he does spit, you're going to get missed. That's kind of one tactic to avoid getting spit on. Oh, I didn't do so good there. So I sidestepped. Definitely got to get these turkeys. I got way too many dogs on me right now. So a little sidestep there. And take him out. Oops, I aggroed him. I forgot to hit sneak. Definitely take any meat from those guys that you can find. Alright, turkey, come back here. There's usually 3 turkeys. I already got you. So whether you've got the toxic abominations or you've got the chest task, definitely go for the chest. I mean, there's always a good chance that you'll find a weapon or something. If you can kill an AI, that's good. That's a great way to rearm. Basically, like right now, my armor's getting a little bit low, and I've already lost my my shirt basically. So if I found an AI, I could kill them and get their armor and their weapons, and that kind of lets you keep going. The number one way that you'll die in these red zones is you'll be like in the middle of a fight with, let's say, 2 toxic abominations and maybe a spitter or something. You'll kind of be getting hit a bunch, and your health will be at about half. And right then, you'll end up having a guy come out with a VSS, and he'll end up killing you before you even know it. So that's like the most dangerous time, is when you're right in the middle of a big fight and you're stressing out trying to kill the guys that are in front of you, and then you kind of get worked over right there. That's when you can use that don't hit the revive trick, but that's completely up to you. So I just pulled this guy away from the floater bloater. Now, I don't need to kill this guy. I could go ahead and get the entire map right now without having to deal it, but just to show you again with the melee weapon. Hit, hit, hit. Eventually he's going to jump. Just run away, run back in. And I think I've just about cleared the board of all the zombies. I could right now kill all the deer and get more meat for my dogs. And I could also go ahead and get all the material on the board here. So if I just simply hit auto right now and just started building axes and pickaxes, I could harvest pretty much everything on the board right now. But I'm not interested in that at the moment. I think I need to go do some bunker stuff. So that's pretty much it. I can't really think of any other tricks to be showing. You don't really need to ever bring any kind of wood or rocks or hatchets or anything with you. There's always enough stuff on the board to go ahead and completely take everything, just with the random pieces of wood and rock laying around. So you don't ever have to bring that with you. You can if you want. I'm trying to find this other turkey. There's always 3 turkeys. Well, pretty much always 3 turkeys here. If I had my sound up, there you are. Come here, turkey. Alright. So yeah, like I said, usually you get 3 turkeys. And by all means, you grab berries, and that's just free heals. So on this particular one, I blew through a bunch of weapons. I didn't kill any AI, and I didn't find any weapons in any of the chests, so this one cost me a lot. And I'm not really getting anything out of it because I'm not sticking around to raid, but if I to a farm. But if I wanted to farm, I could come home with a whole bunch of iron and rocks right now. So now, if you're doing a raiding task and the goal is to open up the chests or to kill the toxic abominations, the best thing to do is to then just go right next door to this zone. You can just run over here or walk and then come right back, and it resets. Same thing happens if the big one comes. You just have to leave, go to the next zone, come back, and you can just keep doing that until you get stinky. I mean, you can keep doing it even if you are stinky now, because it's still easier to sneak around the map since the last changes. So you just keep doing that back and forth until you run out of armor, food, whatever you might run out of, or you want to go home and take a shower, then go back. But usually it'll take me 2 trips out here with a bunch of back and forth to do the Raiders task. And other than that, there was something else in the comment about how to raid sooner. If you're a new player and you're trying to do raids early, well, keep in mind, if you're a new player, everything you have is at risk once you raid. When you only have 1 skull, you're not likely going to get raided. But if you do, you could lose everything valuable that you have. So if you don't have a decent base, you're completely at risk. So be careful. If you raid and you're at risk and you want to know early on how you stay safest, the best thing to do is to keep your loot in the middle of your base and build as big of a level 1 honeycomb as you can, meaning a whole bunch of little wooden rooms. That'll make the raiders come in and have to break a whole bunch of walls and make a bunch of noise. And you also want to put sacrificial chests on the outside, because after they've broken a certain amount of walls, they'll come over and just take the easiest stuff. And so if you keep 3 or 4 chests and just put a little bit of junk in them, then you'll keep them away from the heart of your base and all your good stuff. So definitely keep your good stuff right in the middle. And that's kind of the best thing. If I was just starting this game right now, that's what I would be doing. You don't necessarily need stone walls and level 2 walls to keep your stuff safe. You just need to have a bunch of honeycomb. And so when you got your Raiders tasks, if you haven't been playing this game for at least 2 weeks, then you're going to really struggle completing like bunker runs and things like that. I mean, some of the stuff's pretty difficult. If it tells you to go kill the blind one and get his head, you're going to have a couple of rifles that are full, and you're really going to want SWAT armor for that, and med kits, and a lot of these things you're going to struggle with getting early on. It takes a little while of building up things to do that. So, I mean, the bunker stuff is going to be very hard. You can definitely do the red zones pretty early on if you're just careful. And crafting things obviously can be a real pain. When you're out and about, just try to take a look at the things that you have to craft, like the axes, the military armor, the iron plates, all those kind of things, and make sure that you're collecting the items you need. Like the spike traps, you need tons of rope and wood and the metal fragments. So you need to constantly be on the lookout for those things and keep collecting them. You want to have a surplus, because when you get that crafting requirement, you want to be able to knock it out as quick as you can. But I mean, there's not much I can do to help you with the bunker missions if you're not ready. If you don't have enough armor and weapons to do them, then it's gonna take you a little while of playing the game to get up to speed on that. The C4 is also like a challenge. The dealers in the airdrop, that's no big deal. But the C4 can be a pain in the butt. You have to be able to open the red chests. It's going to be a long time until you're ready to really be collecting floppies. That's a surefire way of getting C4, but pretty much you got to collect those red tickets in the bunker to find C4 that way. You're unlikely going to find it in a red zone. So I think I addressed everything from what the guy wanted in the comments. So hopefully that's useful to all of you newer players. And like I said, if you have any other requests for a video, let me know, and I'll probably make it for you. All right, bye.